Hello, everybody. Let's try this one more time. I just did a 5 minute stream without having the camera on. So here's a story about Time Magazine. Time Magazine has named 4 different reporters and or group of reporters Time Magazine's Person or People of the Year. Here are the people that they have named: Jamal Khashoggi, who was killed earlier this year. There's the staff of the Capital Gazette, who were gunned down in a mass shooting in June. 2 Myanmar reporters. I'm not going to try to pronounce their names. They were arrested for reporting on military mass killing of Muslims in Myanmar, and they have been arrested and sentenced to 7 years in prison. And Maria Ressa, who is currently in a court battle for reporting on Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte. So I have an issue with this story. 2 counts. Number one, no mention of Julian Assange whatsoever. He is essentially a political prisoner and has been a political prisoner for many years, and is probably the most famous of journalists at this point, currently in asylum in the Ecuadorian embassy, and no mention of him whatsoever in the Time article. And also the fact that they named Time Magazine named these reporters the Guardians. The Guardian has been doing a number of hit pieces, smear pieces on Julian Assange, and WikiLeaks is looking into a suit against the Guardian for one of the stories. Time Magazine can't be that blind to that fact. And I can't imagine that this was not a conscious choice to name these reporters the Guardians. When I first saw the story, I originally thought that they were naming the Guardian staff. That isn't the case. They were naming fallen journalists, but again, they didn't even mention Julian Assange, and they named these particular journalists who obviously performed their jobs with great sacrifice, either through jail time or through dying, whether it was well-meaning, ill-meaning. I know some people are critics of Khashoggi. I don't know the other reporters or their work. I'm not criticizing Time Magazine for naming them, but I am criticizing them, one, for excluding Assange, because he is probably the most important journalist of our time, and also for their conscious choice in naming these reporters the quote-unquote Guardians. Well, that's pretty much all I have. I will post the link to this story. I can't imagine that this wasn't a conscious choice by Time Magazine. To me, it's a sneaky move. It makes people immediately think of the Guardian And to me, it's throwing shade on Julian Assange, which he does not deserve one bit whatsoever. So that's pretty much all I have to say right now. And I appreciate anybody who's come on and seen this originally. As I said, I thought that Time Magazine was naming the Guardian staff. That wasn't the case, but that's pretty much my issue. Immediately, people will think something like that. That's a link. Why do you name these particular reporters the Guardians? Come on. No. So that's all I have. Hope this was informative. I'll leave the link in the story. You guys have a good day. Independent Outsider out.